Town Council staff meeting is now in session. Mr. Sean, if you please take roll.
Yes, President Cox. President Cox.
Present.
Councilman Everett. Councilman Hagan.
Present.
Councilman Johnson.
Present.
Councilwoman Person.
We have a quorum with 4 members present. Is that okay now? All right. Thank you all for attending. Got some new faces in the audience, so I'm sure we'll have some added discussion. Just so everyone knows, this is a staff meeting. There are no votes that will take place tonight, but we'll open it for feedback, discussion, or what have you. To get us started, before we jump into the agenda, did you guys want to speak? So please step up to the podium. Just please state your name, your address, or business address, and what you'd like to discuss.
My name is Angela Smith, and this is Jay Trimble, Kara Shepherd. We are from the Elder Ricks Group, Smith Insurance Group, and we are the agent for Cicero, and we thank you for giving us that opportunity. Beautiful town, beautiful area. So we operate, Jay and I created a team effort. We have a total of about 60 employees, and there are, 8 of us that write public entities. Collectively, we write over 200. So we're happy to have you in that family, but we just like to introduce ourselves and let you know who we are, where I live between Montpelier and Kirkland City. They live in Union Avenue. So we've already covered that the main Elder Briggs office, there's 11 locations, but the main Noblesville office is about 11 miles from here. So if you need anything ever, if there's an emergency, we will be here. Someone will be here. And we just want to let you know that we do operate as a team. Wanted to kind of meet you guys. And I said, I know Jacob and I know Rhonda. That's the people that I've worked with. And neither one of them are here. So I said, I don't even know if anybody knows we're coming.
So typically we have these meetings on Thursday, but there's a PTA meeting this week, and they're using the space. So we can do it Tuesday.
Okay, so
Then we meet again for regular council meetings next Tuesday. So the first and third Tuesday of every month are our standard council meetings. Third Thursday, one in between, the Thursday in between is our standard meeting.
okay. All right. So every department heads here.
They are.
So I have some colleagues that are in my house.
Gentleman Wilshire, Mr. Howard Sports, Chief Frazier, and is Fire Department Chief. Chief Bedwell speaks for himself. And then Mr. Cooper is utilities and road. And Frank Federal is
And then in the back, ladies and gentlemen, is a member of our Parks Board, and he will be on the ballot, Town Council in November. So,
Do you have any questions for us?
no, from what I understand, you guys are a pleasure to work with. This is part of your office, so thank you very much for that. Appreciate the opportunity to work with you guys. So,
Yeah, we're excited. So
you guys probably look at my stuff, but we monitor bid activity and different things very actively, and I'm sure didn't see or any posting notices of this, or we would have gotten in front of it and had a discussion then. So I appreciate you letting us speak tonight. I was on vacation for a couple of weeks around the holiday, and we started getting phone calls from multiple foremen and superintendents that were getting pulled over and getting. Nobody was cool. It was just, hey, there's a weight restriction in force now, and here's the ordinance. And it was like, kind of scratching my head. So I'm on the frame for a while, and I called him, and I was like, am I missing out on something? He was like, nope, you got a new rule. You got an issue, you should reach out to the board. And I've known Eric for a while, so I just put a phone call to him. My concern, and I'll probably echo theirs and talk to several of the business owners, this puts a big burden on local businesses such as ours that have mostly heavy traffic. I say mostly heavy traffic. Our crews run anything from 4 to 350 flatbed trucks. That's a pretty typical crew size. That's a gross vehicle weight rate of 14,000 pounds. All the way up to maximally rated trucks, so that's going to be, we run a lot of hydro excavation trucks, large trucks that pass through town. We work all over central Indiana, but this is our main thoroughfare right now in town. And like everybody else, we've been patient, waiting on the 236th Street interchange to get fixed, and then it gets fixed, and it's like, man, we're back to getting the job sites on time, and things are flowing smooth, and then this. I drove it today just to see what it would take us to get around if we drove up by Bex. And a half-ton truck is 42 extra minutes. That's a half-ton truck. It's going to be quite a bit more than that when you get into a heavier truck. It just doesn't get 2 years. I'm saying 3 or 4, 5 minutes more. Doesn't sound like much, but when you multiply that times 2, and depending on which way my crews are going, I mean, we can work in Indianapolis, and if we're going towards Indianapolis, we can really go down 37 to I-69. But if we're heading towards the Lafayette area, the Westwood area, which has a lot of workforce right now, or even the west side of Indianapolis and Avon, that adds up a lot when you're asking for, basically an extra 30 minutes per man per day, figuring in what wear and tear fuel on trucks is. You take that, start figuring your hours and the cost of time, it's over $400,000 to $500,000 a year in real impact it's going to have. And I want to say also, I appreciate what you're trying to do, because this is my community too. I mean, I live outside of town, but we come in here and eat all the time. My son lives up by a bridge road, and my daughter-in-law, and my grandson, when they're still up and down this road every day, because we want it safe, but there's no good way around town, is the problem. And I'm speaking to Eric, because like a lot of hope is you guys would detour down to 38, which, I mean, if I tell you to drive to Sheridan, which any of you guys want to drive all the way up around, I have a hard time believing I would want to. But the truth is, it's just not an inconvenience. It's a genuine financial impact. And not just for me, but, I've talked to Greg Fiddleston, Frank Powers, to Cliff, to Matt Morgan, who owns a business next to us, to Fluid Waste Folks. There's a lot of businesses that call this side of Hamilton County home, and that's our main thoroughfare around town. So I'm just asking for mercy or help. I understand you don't want these heavy trucks on your secondary roads, and I understand that. But the truth is, it's just, those dollars have to be answered for. I know you guys don't want to answer for them. You may see that as a cost of business. But it wasn't a cost of business, it has changed. Personally, I'm going to buy pretty large private equity firm. I'm going to have to answer it by the end of the year why this is all costing a lot more money. And I don't have a good answer. What changed? People don't want to dump trucks. The roads got deteriorated. I understand all the reasons. I can also say that your road deteriorated because poor quality paving. There's been one crew flying around town that you had a poor contract in there. That didn't help you out. The truth is these roads have been used by heavy trucks and vehicles. I'm 48, so it's been a while since I've been alive. Yeah, I agree, and I will talk about that, Eric. I sit down here and eat dinner, and there's cars stacked up all the way back to Boathouse some days trying to get through downtown. My biggest thing is there's not a great plan for us to get around. That bridge across Jackson Street is a major thoroughfare for traffic. I know it used to be Highway 47, but you think about how it connects Anderson to Cicero over to Sheridan and out to I-65. It's a major highway thoroughfare for a lot of folks. If you're asking the truth, there's a huge financial impact. It's going to not just hurt my small business, but other small businesses. And it's going to also impact other roads. So, my biggest issue is I understand what you're trying to do. I sure wish there was a plan to get us around the bridge, or somehow give us another source, it wasn't going to cost us a lot of time. For instance, you and I talked about Keystone Avenue being shut down. The truth is, bypassing Keystone Avenue to stay on Highway 31 is not that big of an impact. At the end of the day, it's a couple of minutes. Not a big deal. Mobilesville doesn't allow a lot of heavy traffic on secondary roads. But we're still allowed to get through town with the main roads. I mean, it's just a lot of this. We're not heavy haul traffic because it's semis. You know, we're not over the road freight. And we're working in a lot of these communities that have every day. And I understand we're passing through it's still across your roads. But anyway, I know this is the start of a little conversation. I appreciate y'all listening to me, but again, this is a real world impact. And it's still a lot of these blue collar workers that work for us and the others that live in your communities and support them. Every time I've got a phone call that sponsor a little league or kick back towards fireworks or anything else, I've had no problem. We got to put the traffic part for them and support it. But it's difficult too, when all of a sudden it's like, never mind, we don't want you guys in town anymore. So stay out. That's how it feels. So perception's reality for a lot of people. And I know your perceptions want to protect your community and your infrastructure. But it feels a little bit on the rough side when you wake up one day. It's like the time you lived in and worked around. But why all of a sudden says stay out? Sure. So I appreciate y'all listening to this same question for me. Before you go, so you had mentioned 14,000 on the low. What's the high? What's the 8,000 pounds? I think that's the max tier. Yeah. But you know, please understand too, you guys hear that. You still have to start thinking in the pounds per square inch when you start spreading weight out over axles. You know, so you have a dump truck that's a quad axle that floats on the front, and the way your weight is spread out is much different than what your sedan at home might be. So that's why a lot of times when you see these larger vehicles, I'm trying to feel what I do with this, but it's, you know, extra axles are added, wider tires are now added to disperse that weight impact on the roads. So, you know, an F-350 that's a dually cab and chassis truck is a 14,000 pound gross vehicle weight limit. I have a single rear wheel F-350, I think it's 12,000. The truth is, if you're 11,000 pound weight limit, and I hope you guys understand, I talked to Eric about this, what is on your plate doesn't matter to plates. It's you open that cab of your door up and on your door and your trucks, it's going to have a gross vehicle weight limit. And it should always be on your trailer, be a gross vehicle weight limit. And then to get your total, you would add those up to get your gross combined weight limit. That's how most state agencies monitor that. Truth is, like, I don't know many of you that would have a half-ton truck pull a boat through town are going to be under 11,000 pounds. Very little, if any, RVs coming through town are going to be under 11,000 pounds. Most of your F-350, 3500s, Chevy Dodge, whatever, are going to be over 11,000 pounds. So, at the minimum, you really need to reconsider your minimum weight, I believe, unless you're ready to start enforcing our tickets to everybody. Because there's very few people up and down the road in this community, especially in our rural farm community still. I know we're on the edge of that, and, you know, there's a lot of one-ton trucks up and down this road that are not commercial, that are privately owned, that are still over the weight limit. So the weight limit is weird. It's totally commercial. Specified so that's communicating to us and that was the intent, so maybe it's the division, but as I was talking. So they're looking now another way of working with partnership with you back to see if there's a different way that we should look at right here. You mentioned 17,000 pounds. Those are your dump trucks, your back trucks. Yeah, they have those discussions. I understand what your production is 11,000 pounds. Right. Maybe we can discuss that as well. What was somewhere? One other point, what people are hopeful is move your north side of town. I'm going to break big roundabouts where people turn around, because right now, I mean, you're in city limits before you see the signs that you're in a violation. And I know a lot of officers have been very kind and once you're in town, they give you a warning, but it would be good to know ahead of time. So I would say this initially, we have to have those discussions with the county. To make sure that can happen. And this was just a little bit of just to start making people aware. So is Aaron called to the city council? He's not employed here. Okay. I don't remember the high school.
We're Casey Construction. My stuff's not near the biggest scale as these guys, but my truck's sitting out front here. I wanted to bring my truck and skid steer and stuff and park it out on the street this morning, this evening, so if you guys wanted to, I could show you what the tags and stuff are on it, but, you know, if I come through town, it's gonna be, you know, my truck is 11,000 pounds. The truck to drive, yeah. So, and that's just a 3/4 ton short bed F-250. So, by the time I hook a trailer to it, any kind of trailer, I mean, you're hooking out with it. And Hayden didn't mention that, you know, he talked to me because it wasn't constructive criticism. It was the conversations that we had. Him and I kind of have a different type of relationship. So, I didn't get the good mention. But, you know, what about your garbage trucks in town here? What about your vac trucks? You know, you guys don't know, and understand a lot of those trucks didn't come to town over the 4th of July here to do the parade because of that. I mean, that's hearsay. I wasn't here for it. I don't know for sure. Your delivery trucks are delivering food to your restaurants. So, you know, as long as any exclusions. Listen, I haven't seen they're doing business in town. It's acceptable. Okay. So basically have school buses, local deliveries, okay, garbage trucks, stuff like that around the school. Okay. So my next question, I told Hayden I would take the first ticket if they wanted to write me one. Just so we could run it through the system. Just because, but you know, you guys are going to have to see, you know, you talk about, you need to find out whether you want to spend money on the officers writing tickets or save your money for fixing your asphalt, because I guarantee you, you know, I don't know different how to be constructive. Yeah, well, so I mean, I guarantee you, you know, if I get it, so if you guys ride one of my trucks and take it when they're coming through town, I'm going to go to court with it. So we're going to go to court, and you're going to have to pay your officer to go to court, and we're going to beat it because there's no scales, there's nothing. You guys have no proof at this point that I was over 11,000 pounds. No way to clarify that, you know, to go in front of the judge. So you're going to get beat. The only way you're going to get any money out of it is if, you know, somebody rolls over and just writes a ticket and doesn't want to mess with it, but you need to go to court, you know, and they don't want to go to court and lose. You know, nobody wants to go lose. So we have legal stuff. We have this Mr. Crowley that says that everything's done to order. So be constructive in any conversations you want to have. Well, I was trying to figure out how are you, do you have any proposals that can help us make decisions and not have to. I think that the 11,000 pounds is you're way under. I mean, you're asking to write tickets all day long for that. And I'm not sure what the logistics are. Those 200,000 pounds are under. Well, I'm being serious, bro. So next time you want me to come fly your snow in my 1-ton truck, I'm 11,000 pounds. And I'll get a ticket to go out there to your place to plow snow. I'll drive through town. That was personal because that's in the county, so yeah, you're anybody else. Yeah, cool. Right. So I know that's incorrect because it's connected. That road, that road is town road, so it's probably not. So no, you would not get a ticket to do it. So what about single deliveries? You would not get a ticket to do it. There's a lot of, I don't know, it seems like it's not. There's a lot of loopholes that I don't think you're going to get when you start writing tickets for that. It's going to be a lot of issues that you guys aren't going to be good with.
So we're open to constructive feedback. And I think we need, I think we're in agreement, we need to look at it again and make sure that it fits what we're trying to do. Our
I
intent is
think-
not to hurt local companies.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what it appears to be doing, but it doesn't seem like that it was super thought through on how it was gonna happen. It was just, hey, let's throw this out there and see what happens. I mean,
I would
if you guys
disagree.
want, if you wanna have a truck, I mean, every other place, every other town, you know, when you come into little towns all across the United States, you know, there's a truck route when you come to town, no trucks in town, and here's the route that you go.
So we have
And it's-
276, we have 38.
But none of it's posted. And see, you guys should have probably got with the county and stuff before you did that ordinance to post that before you can do that. And that's another thing, you write somebody a ticket, you know, it's not posted that we're not supposed to be there, all of a sudden, bam, we're here with a 30, 40, 50, 60,000 pound truck, where are we supposed to go? So, I mean, at the end of the day, if this sticks and it's something you guys want to continue to do, I think you're gonna have to have an officer that's gonna strictly have to do that all the time to do it, you know, to make it happen, because, you know, the county has built these roads coming into your town, beautiful both directions, no different than Beck's. You know, Beck's built a big road out there, and they're killing our road out there, but you know, what do? I mean, there's a huge uptick in traffic since I moved out here 30 years ago. You know, 281st Street out there by my house, man, you know, I could, you know, run through that stop sign any time of the day and never be a car coming, and now you gotta stop and look 3 or 4 times to make sure it's 18-wheelers and everything else are coming down that road. So, I mean, but the county, part of that's county, you know, they built the roads coming to you, you know.
Mr. Cartley, of the trucks that you've got running through town, how many of them are serving the town? 50%? 90%? 10?
Serving the town,
Yeah.
10, 15% probably. Not very many. No. I mean, it's a thoroughfare to go from one place to another. Now, we like the Beck's Road, but, you know, if you want to stop and get something to eat, I mean, you come to Cicero. You know, so if we're not coming to Cicero, then we're not going to McDonald's. We're not getting fuel here. So, I mean, it's kind of a catch-22 on, you know, there's a lot of people that buy diesel fuel at Village Pantry that aren't going to be won't be able to come through there because they can't come through town, and it's going to be super confusing with 19 because you can run up and down 19 all day long and nobody can say anything out there. And I'm not so sure where, you know, I feel like I pay a Hamilton County wheel tax, or, you know, my stuff on my 47 things that we plate each year, and, you know, does that enable me to be able to come to Cicero? I mean, I didn't read that on the, you know, when I pay that each year. Here, this license plate's good for you to drive here. So,
I mean, we're not the first community to put in weight restrictions.
who else has got them?
Carmel has one. They're 19501. Keystone had one. Mr. Watson told me that that's been removed, but for a while Keystone had it. I haven't gone back to look to see if it's still there.
Yeah.
There's
I mean, I've never-
weight restrictions. You see them on bridges.
I've never been pulled over and going through Carmel, so.
So, I have a question actually for all you guys. Do we as a council need to look at this a different way? Instead of the overall rate, do we need to be looking at this thing more from weight per axle? You had mentioned the weight per inch, which in Indiana is restricted to what, 800 pounds?
Yeah, well, I'd have to check into that. I don't know the answer to that, sir. But it's really I just want to bring to light that as we've had axles and had tire width, you lower your ground pressure, which impacts.
Sure.
Another thought I had while I was sitting here, if I may, was, is there even a way you could do a time restriction? Because I know it's terribly busy, let's say after 3 o'clock on weekends. You know, to where it's even something that, you know, it's up to a certain weight, we could use the roads in the mornings, and maybe that's a compromise where I can't have, my guys can't use the roads coming in at night, but at least going out in the mornings when traffic is much lower. You
So
know, I understand that it's crazy busy here when the restaurants fire up on the weekends and kids are getting ice cream and, you know, so maybe after 3 or 4 on the weekends, there's a weight restriction or just trying to think of a compromise there that would work. And I understand everybody's concerns. And I understand what Cliff's saying, you know, it's tough on all of us.
And I understand the big trucks and I understand the whole road thing. I mean, asphalt is something that doesn't last. I mean, it's just, it's like your furnace in your house. It doesn't last forever. You have to maintain it and take care of it, and it doesn't last. And, I don't let Triaxles drive up and down my driveway either. But I'd sure drive my trucks up and down the driveway. To me, Frank would be in a little different position because he's got the bigger stuff, the big boy stuff where, I'm running about the same stuff that Jerry's running, and the 20 to 30,000 pound range is what my stuff's going to be. So, that's, I guess it, and I understand, semis running through town and stuff. I get it, but I think there's got to be a different or better way to go about it.
Yeah, I get it.
So,
And the goal was to minimize, not to eliminate.
right. But you just got to figure out. To me, I think about things from the business aspect, and I know that either one of these guys get a ticket in there, they're all going to be standing in court, and it's the way it's at now. If you're not scaling trucks and you don't have any proof that they weigh over 11,000 pounds, at that point, then the judge is going to just throw it out, and it's going to be a waste of everybody's time.
Sure. Sure.
But that's just, Cicero's been good to me over the years and never had any issues with the PD. And, when we have had issues with the PD, we go in and sit down with them and have conversations with them. And it's always been good. So just constructive.
Sure.
So
Very much appreciate it. Thank you. So it sounds like we have some work to do.
Mr. Crater, do you have anything?
Yeah, I got 6 trucks runs out here every morning. Call them Bobcats. I got a single axle dump truck, 2 triaxles.
All run through town,
Yeah, they run Main Street.
Main Street.
Yeah. And they've been stopped 3 times. Then I had concrete trucks coming through here yesterday, and they stopped them. Then he had to transfer them all the way around. He's pulling right out here on Bear Slide.
So based on what you're saying, then you're probably running up close to the 70,000 pound mark too with the triaxle weight, correct?
Yeah, yeah. But most of the time, we don't run through town with weight because we dump it out there.
Gotcha.
Stream town. But the trucks come through here every day, twice a day.
Twice a day, you said?
Yeah, twice a day.
And that's what, a 1 ton with a trailer and a Bobcat?
Well, that's, yeah, three of them. Then we got 3 dump trucks, single axle, 2 triaxles.
Okay.
Can the local businesses buy a permit to run through town?
I mean, they're already excluded as it is.
Well, no, commercial vehicles.
Oh, commercial, I got you.
So I think that's something that we'll have to talk to legal about and see. I mean, that's a proposal we need to check out.
And just to be very clear, the intention of this was not to make money off of it whatsoever. That was never even part of the discussion.
But you definitely need a lot more signs.
Yeah.
On Andrew Road off 19 from city limits. I mean,
Yeah,
if I didn't have that letter and I didn't see those 2 little signs, I would have never known. I'm not even seeing the signs yet.
Okay.
I know it can't happen, but it'd be nice to have just Jackson Street open, but everywhere else could be that lower weight in town.
I mean, Jackson's,
Jackson.
unfortunately, Jackson's
Jackson's
the
the
street
big-
that's
yeah.
taking the beating, right?
Correct.
I mean, I mean,
There's a lot of construction and building,
Yeah.
and Hamilton County's a busy place. It's a lot of money around here. It's
Not
definitely
not enough for
slowing
paving.
down. No, but people keep coming.
Right. And that's part of the challenge. Right now, all of our money's going to the paving of Jackson Street, and we're essentially I shouldn't say neglecting, we just can't get to the neighborhoods that we have responsibility for as well. You know, so, oh, man. Well, I think we have some solid feedback. I'd say we have some work to do.
Yeah, we have a couple legal questions to ask.
Yeah, but like we said, in a staff meeting, we don't make official decisions or take votes, so we won't do any of that tonight. It may not be the next council meeting we get it done either. It just depends on how long it takes us to work through it.
If you guys are in other communities and they have different proposals, I mean, you guys see the problems we're facing. Money is very limited. So if you guys see something or have ideas, there were a couple good ideas brought up tonight, so let us know. We're willing to listen, and our intent was not to harm local businesses. That's not the intent, but something has to be done. We're not able to keep pace with what's going on, and it's only gonna get worse with this being the interchange. And the county did do 276 as a thoroughfare to Bex, but that was intended to be a truck route because of Bex, but it goes out to 19. But, if you guys have ideas, please reach out, and we'll go back and do our homework with legal and see what we can come up with.
So
Does the county pay for that, or does Sunny pay for that?
I don't know. I have enough on my own and Cicero to worry about.
The big truth is there needs to be a bypass.
Yeah.
And that's just not a quick fix. There's no doubt that's a years-long fix, but as town continues to grow and traffic grows, it's just gonna be needed. We saw that in Noblesville for years for 32. It's just always a jam, and it's gonna be tough. You guys have a beautiful downtown here, and even with the automobile traffic, take the trucks out of it, you're still gonna have a huge impact. So long-term, that's probably the answer, but that's
it's not a quick fix.
I wish it was.
And that'll be the spirit of the discussion with the county, is because whatever that bypass ends up being will be their road, so.
There was a quarterly meeting within the last few weeks. I missed it. I'm usually there, but I missed it. But, that bypass was discussed.
It's very limited, but it was decided that we needed to have a separate meeting that was fully dedicated to that conversation instead of doing it in the general updates. So that, it's on their radar, so that will be taking place. We don't have it set yet, though.
But like you said, that's longer term. That's not a quick
That's a years long.
years.
Yeah.
That's years.
So, just personal question, as far as a happy medium goes, obviously we have a low range and a high range, and to me it sounds basically like 14,000 up to around 70,000. In your gentleman's opinion, what would be the happy medium? That would capture a good majority of, allowing a good majority of the trucks that need to come through, but also accomplishing what we need to accomplish.
26,000, I would suggest. Weight level where you just based on weight alone, requires a CDL. Anything above 26,000 requires a CDL typically. There's weight limits below that can also require, but those are based on air brakes, combination vehicle, passenger, stuff like that. But if the issue is weight alone, 26,000 is,
You're talking about gross weight.
I'm talking about gross vehicle weight, yes, sir.
So
I would agree
that's-
with Frank on that. That's once you hit that 26,001 gross combined weight limit, you're required to have a commercial driver's license. So
Yeah, that's a combined weight.
it's a combined weight, that's right. So, it's still, is it great? No. Is it better than where we're at? Absolutely. At that point, at least most of our one-ton trucks and stuff could pass through town legally. I think some of our lighter dump trucks with single axles can still get through town legally.
Now, as far as signage goes, do we need signage all the way out at 31 and all the way out at 37?
I would recommend that, yes,
And really every interchange, trying to get people to detour before they get too close to town. You
Sure.
know,
And I was given that feedback from other
especially
people
about
too.
McClure's.
I did too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be huge, even coming off of Highway 31 in McClure's, that, no through traffic,
Mhm.
waiting limits ahead or something. Because there's no turnaround, I mean, it's, once you're there, you're already past the point of no return.
Yeah, I get it.
No truck routes.
Yeah.
Internet, it says Tipton City's way done is 26,000.
Tipton, that's through downtown?
And like, the big difference is though, when they did that, they at least bypassed State Route 19 now to where it's, you can get around, right?
Yeah, it's a short, I think it's only like 2 miles north and.
It's not too bad, yeah.
So does our ordinance actually, and forgive my ignorance on this, does it regulate 19? It doesn't, does
No,
it?
that's
a state
NDOT.
road.
That's NDOT.
Yeah, it's NDOT, okay. All right. You have anything else?
No, so we're not making any commitments, but I mean, we're looking to see what,
Yeah, we're definitely open to taking this on.
Well, again, we appreciate your time. I know it's kind of a little bit heated for some of us, so
We get it.
appreciate even the audience to listen and you guys taking the time to do so.
No, and we appreciate you giving the feedback, because we didn't have this information beforehand, so, we were flying with limited information, so this is very helpful, thank you.
well, we did a lot of research. Don't think we didn't do
We just didn't have
research.
live feedback from people that it impacts, correct. And again, we thought a lot of our exclusions would allow for what we were trying to allow, but, so, okay, we'll work on it. So, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
You guys don't want to stay for the road condition discussion next? It's on paving.
All right, do you have the Pacer information,
So I can share it.
if you don't mind?
So, I asked for this Pacer discussion to be, you want to hit two? To be on, because I know that you've been pushing a neighborhood that needs to be used for CCNG. And, I mean, we have main thoroughfares that are breaking down, and this Pacer part, whatever it's called, Pacer is our utility, street department assessment of the roads. And I feel like we need to let this do the speaking for where we need to go next for CCNG. I just don't want to get caught up in one specific because we get a few complaints out there. I mean, if you look at, as an example, if you look at West Jackson Street going west out of town, I mean, it's deteriorating pretty bad as well.
No doubt.
We have other neighborhoods that are deteriorating pretty bad. So I just wanted this on here that our street department puts this together and they numerically classify our roads. And just as you guys move forward, I mean, rely on this from the experts on what those, where that's guiding us to fix next is my real discussion point, right?
Sure. So just for understanding of the Pacer, 10 is best, 1 is worse.
So your 2s, 3s, and 4s, they're considered poor condition. And, around the 4 and 3 is where, you need to be taking action. And it actually says, once you get down to a 3, you're actually doing structural work to the road. It's already done that, so. And just doing a quick look, we got about 35% of our roads fall into the 3 to 4%, or 3 to 4 grade scale. So roughly around 35% of our roads.
I mean, you can see right here, main thoroughfares that are 3s, right? And that's a main thoroughfare. So I just wanted, they do the work to put this out there and let this help guide in the future what roads need to be worked. And the specific one you brought up, so I asked specifically about that neighborhood. And you want to talk to her, or you want me to, just in general? I mean, basically, there's not potholes, the road has bumps, but it's not breaking down, it's in decent shape, right? But it's not smooth. It's not.
It's definitely not
It's not smooth, but there are roads that are deteriorating very quickly. That probably need support beyond that. So that's the only reason I brought this up is just, this is out there for a reason. It's an assessment. So as you guys move forward, it's probably worthwhile to rely on this to help guide you.
And some of those streets are, I mean, they're at 4 or 5, so they're getting there.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure. But it is, I mean, it is a concern. Our main thoroughfares are getting beat on daily, so,
No doubt.
and we can't catch up.
Does this include alleys as well?
No.
No.
So that's our next
I
discussion.
know that's a whole nother.
That's our next discussion.
Yeah. Which we've had that discussion since I've been on council to an extent. Well, I'll wait till we get to that part of the discussion.
Any questions on this?
No.
Mercer, and, I mean, Terry and I were talking, and I know it's been mentioned before for grant opportunities where we want to go next, and I just thought it was worthwhile to bring this back up.
Are there other, Terry, you may know this, outside of grants, are there other funding mechanisms for roads that are out there?
Not that I know of.
Okay. When you just look at this and, I mean, obviously it's gonna be an ongoing issue and topic.
I just like, Eric brought up earlier to the gentleman who's here, my paving budget is non-existent. When you're saying I have to rely just on my paving budget to do paving, we do about a block a week or a year. So, you know, we have to have grants, community crossing grants to do any meaningful paving,
Mm.
so.
And we do some chip and seal based on this,
We do cracks.
crack sealing.
So that is a maintenance, so what that does is, every year, we do 4 full weeks plus, if there's weather in there, we do 4 full weeks of cracks. That keeps the water from getting into those cracks, and then that's when you get your freeze thaw, during the winter, that really accelerates the potholes. But, you know, that's part of our maintenance. And, you know, we can cover the chip seal, you know, when it gets to the alleys, or if you're ready to do that. So. But we don't have equipment to chip seal.
Sure.
I mean, here is a list of 1, 2s, and 3s. And there are 39 entries in here. Now, I wouldn't let this drive the entire discussion, right? I mean, I think you need to rely on the street department to guide as well, because some are used more than others. So maybe a patch can work a little for a while, so.
Right, you know, a Jackson Street laying as a 3 is not gonna last near as long as even a subdivision at 3, because, you know, you're getting, just like we discussed, the truck traffic, heavy traffic, and repetitive vehicles, you know, as a thoroughfare. So in other words, you'll see a 3 deteriorate a lot quicker, you know, as a Jackson Street.
Those ones are out by the Parks Department and ballparks. I took those out. So it's really 36-ish.
So this is just a question from my own knowledge, because I don't really have a basis other than the main thoroughfares. I wasn't around when Morse Landing was done, so I don't know what the costs associated with that. A typical neighborhood like a Tamarack, which I know we don't need, or a Morse Landing West, to do that neighborhood, what would be the expected cost?
Morris Landing West.
Let's say, use Morse Landing West as the example.
I would say 1.7.
Okay, that's lower than I
2
thought.
million.
Okay.
I mean, what'd we spend on just in Morse Landing going up the hill? That was 300 or something? I'm going from memory.
It would really depend on your base work. See, we done a lot of base work on Morris Landing up the hill, and we put in a lot of base. I'm just wondering, something like Morris Landing, you might be able to do more of a mill and pay on it. I'm very concerned about those cracks, the railroad track effect. If you remember, they had it out here on 19, same thing, and they struggled with it. The state did, so.
You're talking about
Morris Landing.
the seams,
Yes,
essentially.
seams.
And I think we got clarification on that. That's basically where the utility lines are running across the street, right?
I didn't agree with him by saying that because there's a lot of crossings that's not cracked and there's not very few of them. If you look, they're almost, if you almost measure, they're almost the same.
Uniform, right?
Uniform. I'm not an expert, but I think it has something more to do with the mix that was originally used in the asphalt. But I've only had the one company come in and they said, oh, yeah, that's where you made your water line cuts. Well, it's not, so.
Okay.
I think there's something else there that we would need a traffic engineer or road engineer to find out why. Because if you just done a mill and pave and didn't address whatever that problem is, you remember they came back in 19 and had to readdress some of that.
Sure. Oh, okay. Thank you.
All right, I think we're done with that one.
Yep. All right, alley work.
So it's been on the table a lot as well. Mr. Cooper went out, or Cooper, not Cooper, Mr. Cooper went out and talked about chip and seal with the county to start doing that. And he's had a lot of feedback that they're too high, and chip and seal really won't fix it because there's ruts and everything else. And maybe there's a solution to put base material down, grind it down and do base material. And what Terry and I talked about is maybe we start just a small section at a time, and I asked Terry to go get some numbers. I don't know if you have those yet, Terry.
I do. I have some budget numbers.
Yeah, to maybe, not out of his funds, but maybe we find something else in the general fund to start doing a little section at a time and start putting base pavement down just to try to start to clean some of that area up. And I don't know that it's realistic or not, but something probably needs to be done here in the short term to grind it down, get it back down where it belongs, and maybe put something in that starts to last a little longer. And I'm not talking hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, but maybe in our budget planning, we start setting aside some amount to start on that.
Did we get any commitment from the county for assistance on those alleys or no?
On what's that?
You,
Chip and seal?
the chip and seal?
Well,
Oh, they said they wouldn't do any good.
that wouldn't do any good.
Gotcha, I'm with you.
Yeah. And he gets complaints about water running off the alleys into people's yards and puddling as well in some areas, because it's just too high.
Sure.
Yeah, so like Eric said, met with several of the county guys and we walked some of the alleys, and that is their recommendation, is that you just go in and basically grind them down, back down to level, and come up with then, double coats of chip seal. But, at that point, and that's an every year thing, he said you can get it on a program where you do that every year. And so that's when we kind of, was kicking around, and maybe it would be better to actually asphalt them with just base. I've done that in alleys before, and it's held up really well. So what it is, you use the base, which is the bigger stone, and then you just don't put that nice, slick, final coat on it, and it's really, it holds up pretty good, so.
Are we in a situation where it would make sense for us to own milling equipment? that may be a stupid question, it's just my ignorance, I don't,
We definitely, if we started doing our own, you know, we'd have to have more employees, you know, because it would be an ongoing thing. And you know what I'm saying, so there'd be more cost than just going out and
Buying the equipment.
machines.
And I think it's something that maybe you look at. I don't know that you would. I mean, if you only used it a little bit, I mean, I don't know. I think it could be looked at.
I know we even looked at, I think you might have showed me the, what goes on a skid steer.
Power farther.
Right, you know, we'd have to rent one or buy one that's big enough to carry the tool, because the little one we've got doesn't have the, you know, the hydraulics pump and stuff to run equipment. So there would be something, maybe we could do something like that.
So do you want to talk numbers real quick, just
Yes.
briefly?
So I'll just come here.
So, as we was looking at the alleys, some of them need to be taken down further than the other ones and more grinding. So I tried to come up with just like an average. And so what I came up with, it was $100 to $110 a running foot. So these alleys are about, well, they're actually platted as 16 and a half feet, but most of them's like 12 feet wide that's covered, so. And that would be taking them down.
So you're saying 1 foot by 12 feet?
Yes. So say, and so kind of looking at our alleys, some of our alleys are anywhere from 300 feet to 550 feet. That's, you know, in between your blocks. So, you know, by using, say, the higher number, $110 a foot, that'd be $33,000 to $60,000 basically, to mill down and, you know, hire somebody to mill down, carry off the spoils, and then put, you know, the base back 4 or 5 inches of base back. Now, there's a lot of things that'll play with this. If you're able to do more, you're going to get a better bid. You know, if they come in and do one alley, then that's where you're going to get up into that $110. But, you know, if you come in and you say, well, hey, you know what, we can make a big push this year, so I've actually done this before. We've actually went out and like using these numbers and say, okay, I just throw some numbers out. Say we got $500,000. So we go do $500,000 worth of alleys that we think, and then we bid those, and then because we're doing that, it'll come in, say it comes at $350,000 to do all of them. Then we're ready to go ahead and immediately throw out some more alleys to it. I mean, in other words, you kind of work into what money is available to do those. But
Thanks for putting those numbers together, and
Yeah.
it gives an idea.
right, and that, like I said, that's an average. Some of them are going to be cheaper because they don't have to be milled down as far. So.
thank you.
So, I mean, if we just had another paving discussion, so this is probably in the right time to have that talk, but it probably is worthwhile to consider putting in budget moving forward to start doing a little bit of that.
So the grants for alleys, are they typically separate from CCMG?
Well, there's nothing available for alleys.
No, there's not.
No, even the community crossings, Dan and I, we've discussed it with them several times. So, you know, one of the things too is beating these alleys up is the trash trucks, just like these guys said. That's one of the heaviest trucks you see on the road, because they pack, you know, as much as they can in those, because that less trips to the dump, you know, helps. But that is that's just a thing we've got to deal with.
Sure.
So that's kind of driving to, you know, how we do the alleys.
Since we're talking, I mean, there was a proposal of 26,000 £1 for roads. Just think about that and let us know your feedback of that. If that's, I mean, that's a third of what's going through town on some of these semis, so I'm sure that has to help.
Right, and honestly, I believe anything we do is going to help. They put out, turn right around, go 31, catch 28, that's, designated routes.
Okay. Have we had any feedback from the county? I don't know who was going to talk to the county about signs out on the county property.
I talked to, let me see my notes, Joel from the highway department. So I was gonna talk with Brad when we were at our quarterly meeting, Brad wasn't there. So they sent Joel, and I had never met him before, the first time I met him in Brad's. And I talked to him before the meeting started, and I told him that, because I've got a list right here that Jeff and my guys went to do exactly what they're saying, get these signs out where people can turn on some of these. It's like an unofficial truck route. So anyway, I talked to Joel about it, and I told him what we're discussing about putting signs into the county. I'm not, we're not doing a truck route, I'm just needing, to get those signs out like they're complaining about, to warn them for the get here. And he said that he wanted me to send this list to Brad, and then Brad would pass it around, to the guys and get input. And then Joe brought it up in the meeting, and that's when Joel was the one that said, yes, we need to discuss, this at the meeting, possibly in August, just specifically for truck route.
But what about getting signs out there saying it's limited thoroughfare or whatever, no trucks allowed or?
They, Joel, which I don't know where he's at as a pecking order, he didn't seem like that would be a problem, us putting signs out in the county, following their specifications for signs.
Do you want to follow up with Brad, or do you want Mr. Davis, or do you want Joe or myself to, or?
No, I can follow up with Brad.
Okay,
That's who Joel said to send this to. is,
Okay.
Brad.
all right, thank you.
Good on Alice?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, moving on, picnic, Ms. Pearson, I'm assuming that's you.
Oh. Picnic, yes. July the 24th at 12 o'clock at the park.
Red Bridge?
No, community. And we will furnish the meat and the drinks. And the employees can bring a side dish.
That's a Friday, right?
That's a Friday afternoon, and Friends of the Park are going to donate $25 gift cards for any employees that are there.
Nice.
And we're having our first meeting this Thursday, but the meeting is for the committee, but since most of this has already been planned for this year's, it's to get started on next year's, because I truly want it to be the employees' picnic, what they want to do with the limited funds that there is, so they can decide the day they want it, the time they want it.
Where's that Thursday meeting at?
It's gonna be at the Parks Department, at Jimmy's office. And I will feed you.
All right, thank you very much for your work on that.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, plan, Frank, do you have anything?
I do. I asked Rhonda to get this on the agenda, when she must have took off before I had a chance to. I'd like to get the planning office, utility office, parking lot from rear sealed and restriped. Looking pretty rough. I am Pacer certified. I would put it at 3 or 4 if I were doing that. I did go out and get a couple of quotes. And one of them we got from Ferris, came highly recommended by one of our department heads. It's $4,800, and that includes sealing every crack, and then seal coating the whole thing, and then restriping like it is now. I did get another one from Sowers. They're the ones that have done it before. Same thing. He did say he was throwing on an extra $100
Can I give you, outside of here, 2 additional names to contact? To just get a price?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Good.
So, I guess then my more immediate need then is how am I gonna pay to have this done?
Sure.
I mean, I'm going to be able to, is this something you guys are willing to?
I think it's something we're willing to look at.
I don't think it needs to come out of his budget.
Oh, no,
would say
I don't
town
disagree
council-
with that.
The town council budget would,
Yeah, I'm not saying to put it in his budget. Where I'm struggling is why is there a $2,000 delta between those 2 quotes? Where's that gap come from? I know that's not your questioning answer, I'm just curious there.
so I'll give you 2 more names and maybe you see what they come in and see what the difference is.
Okay,
All right.
that's all?
We'll take a look at it. And if you'd like, we can add it to the agenda for Tuesday.
Okay.
Just please send Rhonda an email asking her to do so. All right, moving on. Chief Frazier.
Thank you, sir.
Just the front sheet of this, the rest is other stuff.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, good evening, council. So we've been having this conversation pretty much all year coming this, but if you remember in our retreat, one of the things we talked about was that we're working to get our PRN staffing up, which we have. We've actually added about 10 that are working. Each of those, about 5 are working a fair amount, but we've also had probably 10 or so that kind of slowed down, so we're kind of breaking a little bit above even on our PRN staffing, so it's actually been pretty good. It's going the right direction for us at least this year, but we're also running into that point to where we talked about where now it's summertime. So the people who work for us, most of them work at another fire department, so now it's the time where they're either on vacation or they're getting overtime at their department, so we have a lot of issues with either call-offs because we really don't control them. You know, the day before they may call and cancel their shift because they got called in for overtime or something came up. So that being said, what we're seeing now is we're running into that issue of summertime where weekends are just becoming impossible to fill for us. So every weekend, we start the weekend with 3 people, and we're filling 3 24-hour shifts pretty much every Saturday and Sunday, sometimes Fridays, depending on the thing. We've been really pushing, trying to get everybody to take spots, but there's only so much that we can, squeeze out of our current staffing. So we're kind of running in that, which led me into what we had talked about before about wanting to have a conversation of what would it look like if we actually went to 15 full-time and then filled the rest with PRN and overtime. What that does for the town is this. Gives us consistency a little bit more, but the other part is just to understand how we staff. So when we staff, we actually staff our PRN first. So our PRN are always given the first slot 3 weeks out? 2 months out, okay. 2 months out, they have the ability to fill slots. So they go in and grab all the slots they want to work that are open. Then after that, we fill with overtime. So anything we do won't affect our PRN staffing. We'll still get that really good cost value benefit of getting the average of, $25 an hour. Most of them are more to the $22 an hour range. So that actually keeps us getting our lower cost staffing that we get. The only thing this would do would it be actually maybe pull from overtime, but overtime is going to be pretty consistent around there. But all I wanted to kind of show you tonight was from all the numbers that we've looked through, we can pretty much equally do what was budgeted for in the fall. We could actually meet the same numbers by staffing 3 more people. Our overtime costs average between $38 to $47 an hour, depending on the rank of the person. Our hourly rate for hiring a person with benefits, with everything they get, is about $42 an hour. So we're kind of in that break-even phase between whether we're paying overtime or we're paying with that. Currently, to this point, we're about 1,700 hours that we haven't filled for the year, which equals about 70 days of just not filling a position. The problem with that is we get a lot of days where we fill 6, and then we have a lot of days where we may have 2. So for example, Sunday, this last Sunday, we started the day with 4 people going into Saturday midday. By Sunday morning, we had 1 person calling sick who was extremely sick. And we had another person who was a part-time person who also on Saturday called off, pulled himself off the schedule. So we went from 4 to 2, first thing Sunday morning. So that being said, what ended up happening was I got a phone call from our battalion chief on duty. He called me and said 2, so I immediately got in the car from Kokomo, drove to here, I worked a 23-hour shift on Sunday just to fill that spot. During the course of the day, we were just making phone calls to people. One person decided to stay over for a few hours to help out. One person went to church, went home for a little bit, came back for a few hours to fill in the spot. By the end of the day, we were in a pretty good shape, but we started the day with 2 people, and it was a scramble to even make it through. And sadly, that's what most of our weekends look at. Like currently, we're just struggling to get those extra positions filled, because anytime we have one person on vacation, we're starting the day at half-staffed. And then filling that is just the big issue we run into. So that being said, I want to present this and kind of show you what that looked like. 2026, the first column is the current budget, what was approved by the council originally. That's just the staffing portion of the contract, which is the majority of this contract. Projected, and the second column of the projected costs is $7,000 cheaper to hire people, plus that's added in about $50,000 of PRN costs, because we've added in like how much potential loss could we have. That's calculating if I lost one person a year for an injury. So an injury would be like blew a knee, blew a shoulder, had to actually go into surgery. That's my biggest concern we have. So the actual number of that is about $80,000 of difference, if minus no issues. If everybody's healthy, everybody comes to work, we have our normal staffing, everybody shows up when they're supposed to, we would save approximately $70,000 to $80,000 from the first one to the second one. And then the other 3 are just projections of what it would look like going forward in 27 with the different potential pay raises. The benefits part, I calculated at 3% across the board. I wasn't really sure at the time what we're at. I'm still trying to figure that out with Mrs. Gary to get an idea of what our actual benefit cost is for next year for everybody going forward. So I know this is a lot. This is a big conversation to have. It's probably hard to have this here, but what I would like to do is try to see if we could set it up, or 1 or 2 of you at a time, we could have a meeting and just kind of go through these numbers and talk about it and answer questions, kind of go through the details of it, all the little pieces of it, and see if there's something that makes sense or not going forward.
So your projected cost column is adding 3?
Yes. Yeah, below that, down below bit lower says 2026, so the salary rate, so if we're hiring people, we're gonna hire them at the most. So if we do a lateral transfer, the most they would come in as a 5-year employee with the benefits of a 5-year employee. So that's what that shows. That's what a 3 firefighter salary would be, a 5-year employee. They would get that benefit, or that cost package. And then the benefits that go with it include their longevity and anything that they would get, vacation time, everything that goes into that is the second column. So we're looking at 3 firefighters would be about $370,000 is the increase total for benefits and hiring 3 people. We kind of run it, it's like almost $124,000 per individual.
So then you
Total
accounted
cost.
for vacations and sick
Yes.
leave and...
That was added into the increase in backfill in the second budget. So I actually increased the vacation and backfill. So when you look at that, the cost of what PRN and overtime would cost actually takes in the cost of what we would have to backfill for vacation, sick time, things of that nature for the extra 3 people. It's included in the second column already.
And you still say 400K?
What's that?
And you still say 400,000 is what you're showing,
No.
roughly?
I said worst
PRN
case.
pay, right?
Yeah, but it would bump into wages and overtime. Wages and overtime.
I just meant off of that line item.
Correct, yes.
PRN pay.
That was an unrealistic number because of the actual, that was such like a whirlwind of information everybody's trying to figure out, and the council chose the PRN staffing, which was basically all of our extra staffing was going to be PRN, which we only have a limited number of PRN. Most of it gets filled with overtime. So overtime is actually higher than was budgeted, and PRN will be way less than what's budgeted. We knew going into that there was going to be some transferring of funds between those 3 categories, basically to make ends meet at the end of the year, figured out. And like one thing I remember we were talking about this, one of the things you have to understand in the fire service, January, February, March, sometimes April, that's your time where you're fully staffed. Most people are here. This is vacation times, like every other business, starts in March a little bit. April slows down a little bit, and then when May hits, it's vacation season. It's vacation season up until now with everybody having fall break in high school. Now, October is a big month. People take a lot of time in October. So we limit, it's 1 person a day, so we can only have 1 person off each day. So that number, those, you hit the summer, we have a person on vacation almost every day, off and on through the rest of the year. November's kind of a slow month, the end of October is a slow month, and then we get right back into About the second week of December, everybody starts using the end of vacation, trying to burn it up. So we kind of have ebbs and flows when we actually use it, but we're hitting the peak of vacation season right now. So like I said, we're pretty much every day we're filling 3 spots from here on out going forward. So this is just a proposal or an option to try to solidify that and actually staff us full-time.
You said every day you're filling 3 spots?
Yes. We have 4 full-time firefighters each day. If
Right.
one person's gone, that means we are at 3. We have 6 positions to fill every day,
So you call a position 8 hours?
24 hours. No, a position is, we have battalion chief, 3 on the engine, 2 on the ambulance, 6. That's what our staffing is.
And you let 1 go per day?
Yes.
1 out of the 6?
1 out of the 3. And then everything else is part-time or overtime. What we have that's a concrete staffing is 4 a day. If one of those people are on vacation, we start the day at 3 a day. So that's either people working overtime or PRN, filling the other 3 positions. We, every day of the year, we're filling 2 positions, 48 hours with.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
That's the part I was missing.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, our normal is 4 and 2. Anytime somebody goes on
got
vacation, it's 3 and 1. So like, for example, Sunday, or the Sunday before last, we had a person we have a military guy, and when he has military, he has to go to military. So, we deal with vacation, military, sick time. Those are the 3 big ones we have to figure out and backfill. And at least military time's planned. We know when it's coming a year in advance, so
Okay.
that helps.
Thanks for that. And thank you for coming in on
Yeah.
Sunday to
Oh, no problem.
cover.
It was actually kind of fun. It's fun to be a firefighter for a while.
Thank you, Chris. Chief Brenner?
Topic you and I talked about briefly, but just to let everybody else know, one of our reserve officers in his real job does some grant writing for the company. He's done very well. He's got millions of dollars for them and different things that he's wrote grants for. But he found a grant that would cover public safety vehicles. So it's not a matching grant, it's a 100% grant. And so he inquired with me whether or not we want to try to get some vehicles. Briefly ran it by the president. He said to bring it up to y'all, but I think there was a maximum of maybe 10 vehicles he could ask for. So when I broke it down even further, when I talked to you about the other department heads, he says this one's for public safety only. So I'm not sure if the fire department or whatever needs some new vehicles or not. He did say there were some others out there that would possibly work toward the other municipal departments, whether it's planning, street, or whatever, and trying to obtain these vehicles. Don't know if he gave me like a price range of like the maximum you can ask for, but he was talking about like 10 vehicles, depending on the vehicle you're asking for. As we're like right now, we're buying Durangos for roughly 41,000. We got a quote for a hybrid Ford Explorer right around 45. So, I mean, you could probably ask for either make that you're wanting to buy. It just kind of limits your cars, how many cars. There was a second grant opportunity that you could apply for that would help assist with the upfitting, putting the emergency lights on them and so forth. So basically, I'm just here to see if you guys would be interested in allowing him to write a grant to try to obtain some vehicles. And specifically, maybe if you agree to allowing him, is how many. I know we've had a lot of issues with our cars here recently, but we've actually we're starting, I think, get on the mend. One of the cars had a blown engine. We got it replaced, got it back. The other one's it's still in the shop, but it's supposed to be getting repaired, which would give us 2 pretty good engines and cars. But I think that our 2020, 2021's the year they were manufactured. But as far as the police department ourselves, if we could replace those 3 reserve cars we got in our fleet, we could ask for the 2 that we typically purchase every year for a total of 5. Is what I'd be looking for. I'm not trying to get a whole 10 for us, because I don't know what I would do with the other ones sitting around numerous days out of the week. But again, if the fire department needed vehicles.
He just said they needed 12. Or 2, I get confused.
But that's kind of what I'm like.
Did you get any feedback on what he's looking for compensation-wise to write these grants?
He wants nothing to write the grant.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe
I don't
maybe-
see a, I
maybe
don't
a
see a
take-home car.
downside here personally, but, no.
I don't either.
You know, with
That'd
the
be
thought being,
wonderful.
if you do ask for 10, maybe they say you get 6, 7, I don't know.
And obviously, there's no guarantee that we get this
Correct.
grant.
Yeah.
But, I'm of the opinion that, based on what you're saying, it's worth pursuing. I mean, anybody disagree?
Heck no.
Sounds wonderful.
Good.
Anything we could get.
Let's do it.
Thanks, sir.
So, one question, those two blown motors, what vehicles were they on?
Ford Explorers with just a gas engine. One was 5 years, 6 months. It had 74,000 miles on it. The second one was a 5 years, 3 months, and 5-year warranties. So one was 3 months out of warranty, one was 6 months out of warranty. The other one had 61,000 miles on them. Another one of our reserves works at a Ford dealership, and he's like, hey, if you don't mind, if we just tow them to Brownsburg, have my mechanic look at it, tear it apart, and see if we can't get them replaced. So with his extra work and tearing it down, getting pictures and articulating very wisely, I think, Ford said, yeah, we'll replace the engines under warranty.
Oh, wow, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
so,
got some awesome people.
So I think he told me the new engine for those cars was around $7,200. So I think one's a 21 and the other one's a 22, so we'll have new engines. One of them's back on the road already, and the other one should be getting started, working on right now.
Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
You're welcome. Yeah, I praise him every time he mentions it, because they were about to be taken to the junkyard.
Yeah.
All righty,
Awesome.
thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief.
Thank you. Great news.
You're right. Water, wastewater.
I don't have anything unless council has questions.
No, sir, I don't have any. Anybody else have any? No? Clerk treasurer, pseudo clerk treasurer, do you have anything? No? All right, moving along to your actual department.
You had your chance.
Yeah, project coordinator.
So anyway, I asked for the wheel and vehicle excise tax to be put on the agenda. I know we discussed it last year in regards to the potential of putting that in place for some additional funding, as well as the possibility of need for the community crossing matching grant. So with that being said today, going into the day, we were uncertain whether it would need to be in place for the community crossing matching grant, which it does not appear to need to be do so for the September 2026 round of funding. But the caveat to that is the state did a lane mile funding. That was part of 1461 House and Road Act and the LMDD, or Lane Mile Distribution Fund, and which would require a wheel and excise tax. So basically, that would allow you to potentially seek more money than the community crossing matching grant. So if there's a pool of money available, if you have those things in place, after the grants are all funded, if there's additional funding left, then the towns would be eligible more than the grant opportunity. If there is less in that particular fund and the town receives some money, that portion would come off of the actual grant, but it would be made up by the lane mileage. So the whole lane mileage is driven by, that you probably have seen on the news with Marion County and Indianapolis, and the whole wheel tax thing that's going on, discussion around there. So if there's enough funds in the programs for grants, then Marion County would get $50 million, and then the eligible dollars from there would be distributed through the Community Crossing Matching Grant and the Lane Distribution Fund. So in order to be eligible for 2027, we would have to have a ordinance in place by September 1st, and also that would have to go to the Indiana Department of Revenue and the BMV before September the 1st. So if the council would like to move forward with that, then Mr. Culp would need to start working on that fairly quickly. And if you remember that the wheel tax can be a minimum of $5 annually, or it can be up to $40 annually. And then the vehicle excise tax is, on the low end, is $7.50 annually, up to $25 annually. So if you look back on it, in 2023 is the latest numbers from Purdue from their study that I could still find, then basically that would raise roughly $50,092 based on the low end that the town would receive from the wheel and excise tax itself.
So wheel tax was 5 to 40 and excise was?
$7.50 to $25. And then if, you know, the town, if it decided to go to the maximum rate, you'd be looking at roughly $175,000, which I know based on previous conversations, I don't think there's a lot of appetite for taking that to the higher limit, but it looks like, you know, that's something we might want to consider just because of the whole lane mileage distribution. And that's based upon that it was more fair to, like, the bigger cities of Indianapolis, because currently it's addressed on just a road. So now the funding mechanism, why it's called a lane mileage, is if you have 4 lanes, then your funding mechanism, it's a different quoting to try to help the bigger communities get more dollars.
So we talked about this before. We should have did it then. I think we push Aaron to get it done by September 1st. We don't have to have a value now. Think about it, we can make that determination. Sorry, Dan, I didn't mean to.
No, you're fine. I mean, it's a discussion the council needs to have, and certainly, you know, we can discuss it if you want at Tuesday's meeting. I do know that I did see it on Rhonda's agenda at the SBOA conference, that she will have an update on the lane mileage funding, so she'll be more of a subject expert on that, because it's been in place about a year, but we just started hearing it about it probably a month or so ago when Rhonda asked me what I knew about it. So then I did some research to try to figure out what this was all about, and I know Aaron reached out to Ames' attorney to have a better understanding as well.
Okay. Let's go, are you guys good if we have it put on the agenda for Tuesday?
I mean, I think we need to tell Aaron to do it now, create the ordinance now.
Okay, we can do that. I'm fine with that too.
Basically, you want him to create an ordinance and not put in the dollar amounts at this time, is that what I'm hearing?
Correct.
Yeah. And we can decide at the next meeting or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, because we've already had baseline discussions on this anyway.
Yeah, we probably should have just moved forward last time instead of pushing it off.
All right.
All right, we'll get that to Mr. Culp then, and we'll start working on that.
Sounds good to me.
Thank you.
Appreciate
So,
it.
thank you.
Do you have anything else?
No, sir, that's all I had.
Parks, Mr. Connor.
The first thing I have tonight is a discussion about the LWCF grant. We are currently on track to have that filed and submitted before July the 31st. She promises to get us a review on the 24th or 25th at the latest for us to do final reviews. And I've seen some of it today and been able to review a little bit of it. But in the meantime, as part of getting that grant ready, I've got 2 documents that need to be signed. One is an assurance of compliance and says we won't discriminate, some federal forms, and then one is Build America, Buy America regulations. And we've talked about these forms before, but if you agree with it, I'd love to get your signature on that tonight, and I can get these back to her and move forward.
Do you need it today or can it be after Tuesday?
It could wait till Tuesday if we have to, but
I'll make a motion to, it's just president?
yeah.
I'll make a motion to allow the president to sign the assurance of compliance and Build America, Buy America for the
LWCF.
For the LWCF
Yes.
grant opportunity.
I'll second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We'll get it done. Do anybody have a blue pen with them?
I probably do.
Okay.
The next,
Okay, thank you.
the next topic for the LWCF discussion, and I've talked to a couple of you about it already, is the grant writers are asking to know if we would, if we have interest in, if we get state approval, would we be willing to go ahead and move forward with engineering and some of the cost things associated once we get state approval, even though we still have to wait on the federal approval. If we're willing to do that, they feel like that would be a huge plus for us in terms of the grant and being able to receive the grant, but then also we could potentially cut off as much as a year of time frame involved by going ahead and expediting and moving it forward.
Do we know what those costs are?
I think there's a fee, Dennis, of $275.
$279, and it would be part of the project, so it would be the reimbursed part that you're kind of moving forward on that, so that the plan would be that you could start the project immediately upon approval.
But you're still not guaranteed funding at that point.
No,
but I think what you told me was that
the federal government
it's
hasn't ever.
not, if the state approves it, we're not aware of a time where the federal doesn't.
Gotcha.
So it doesn't mean that it can't happen, it's just not the norm.
So we're just paying the $279K earlier than we typically would, essentially.
Theoretically, that amount, yes.
But we are protected to an extent by the state approval, given the history of federal approval based on state approval.
Yeah, the federal government has never rejected
It's not
one.
protected, but risk is reduced.
Yeah, so that. And, I mean, that engineering, something has to be done down there. So
Right.
engineering work, I wouldn't say is a waste. I would assume
I agree.
you
It's
guys
gonna be-
would move forward with grant after grant after grant opportunity until we get something to move forward.
Right. Do you need an answer on that tonight, or can we wait on that one until, I'd rather do that in a general council meeting.
That's fine. I'm good with that.
That's my opinion.
No, I agree.
I just look for that on to discuss it at Tuesday night's meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. Have Rhonda put it on the agenda, please.
Okay. And then next up is our grant writer, Amy. She is at the end of her 6-month contract, and we need to decide if we are going to retain her from in August, if we're going to continue working with her, or whether we are going to stop that. We're currently paying her $2,000 a month. Dan and I have talked about it for a little bit yesterday. She has not got us very much in terms of grants. We've lost a whole lot of grant opportunities. We got a lot of no's and a lot of rejections back. But she has worked and or applied for up to 25 of them so far, and we've got a lot of negatives back. We've got a few pendings. I don't really have a strong opinion one way or another on where we go and how we continue, but after talking to Dan yesterday, and I'll let him voice his opinion, but I think I would like to maybe continue for 3 more months. And I think that would help us get through this final grant process and tie up a couple loose ends of things we've got pending, as well as by only going with 3 months instead of 6, then I think that'll send a message and maybe see where we can just reevaluate again in 3 months.
Do we have any feedback of why we're not getting awarded the grants? Or is it just a matter of we're throwing darts and seeing?
Unfortunately, we don't get a lot of responses back for people when we get denied. I've read every grant that she submitted, and I feel like she's done a pretty good job with it and been very thorough in things. I think there's more competition out there than ever before to get grants. I don't know if Dan would want to elaborate any, but I don't have any good, solid reasons for why we're getting no's.
Unfortunately, they typically don't give you any feedback as to why that your grant opportunity is turned down. I mean, once in a while, they might, make a comment about funding or something, but typically they don't give you what you could have done better to have a better opportunity to grants.
Sure.
And then I think the other side of it is, we're applying for a lot of grants, and, I don't know of those grants which have the best potential to try to get them, and I think, early in the stage of using someone new, they're going to go after every grant opportunity they can. hoping that they can get some for the town.
Sure.
Let's just say, so.
And at some point, we do have to see a cost justification or return on investment, so.
Absolutely.
I mean, obviously, we need our savings to exceed what we're paying out for it to
Absolutely.
make sense, so.
And I think that's one end in the discussion with Superintendent Hunter that we talked about is, maybe not doing an additional 6 months, but take another 3 months, but since we have quite a few pending and still some work to do on the LWCF grant and some of those things to see how the next 3 months go and have a better opportunity to make a better decision at that particular point.
Sure.
And Dan, do you think that's a good idea? The 3 month?
I guess a different way to ask that question is, do you feel there's enough that could be accomplished in a 3-month time frame to justify the $6,000 that would be paid out?
When's our CFW due? It's due again in July.
July 31st.
Will there be additional follow-up?
What was that grant again?
It won't be announced till by maybe the end of the year.
We won't get an announcement, but if we decide not to retain her, then Dan and I will be listed as contact information, and also Julie Smith, Julie and Jonathan that did the original master plan. So if we don't retain her past after we apply, all we have to do is notify them via email that there's been a change in contacts.
So another question that I have personally is we're getting into a time of year where I'm assuming there are less grants available towards the end of the year as opposed to the beginning of the year. Is my thinking correct in that? I mean, she's applied for a lot of grants early in the year. Are there still that same number of grant opportunities in the second half of the year that would justify us keeping her on for an additional 6 months?
Sort of asked that question. So there is grant opportunities we know in August and September that are still a possibility of applying for. And then we also will know some additional grants at that particular point. But I don't know that we got a definite answer of what would be available in the later part of the year. And I think that was part of the decision making, that we would potentially not want to go 6 months.
That makes sense. I mean, I just don't want to pay $2,000 a month when there's nothing being applied for.
Sure.
You know.
And then I think the other side of it is hearing, Chief Reddenauer speak that, there's some public safety grants out there available that his department can pursue too. And I know that is some of the things that Chief's been looking at as well, but it sounds like that might be handled internally a little bit through his department as well.
Sure.
Does she do anything with MPO?
No, not that I'm aware of.
I don't have any knowledge on that.
Do you want to ask her if she has any experience with that? But is that worthwhile, you think, if she has any experience or not?
We'll check with her.
Okay.
So you said we need to make that decision essentially to re-up for August, September, and October. Is that correct?
We can talk about that Tuesday if
We're
you
going to need a council vote on it anyway,
Yeah.
so let's throw that on the agenda anyway, or as
Okay.
well.
All right. Last but not least, maybe 3.5 years ago, I spoke with council at that time. I had Linda Drake came to me. At that time, her husband was a retired lieutenant colonel in the military and was very well accomplished at that time. She expressed an interest in putting a plaque similar to the picture there out on the Veterans Causeway. I had talked to the council at that time about putting it somewhere on the east end of the causeway, just that plaque or similar style. Don't know if we would put it on its own individual signpost or whatever, but at that time the council was absolutely willing to move forward with it and proceed. But shortly after that council meeting, Mr. Hartley, who was helping to spearhead the project, passed away, and things got put on hold and life got busy, and she didn't come back until just recently, and she'd like to get back on track and explore that. I think we would put something very similar to that up somewhere on the east end. Just want to know if the council still supports such a venture.
associated costs?
I'm fine with it. I think it's a good gesture, and I have no issue with it whatsoever. I just need to figure out exactly where the place is on the east end and how we'll install it. She will pay for everything, no cost to us whatsoever, except whatever minimal time and installation efforts that my staff has.
I support it.
I do too. I remember Mike Drake.
Me three.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hunter.
Thank you.
Anyone have anything else? Mr. Bell? No? Nothing?
So there were a couple action items, you want me to follow up from the weight limit, and I follow up with Aaron on those?
Yeah, please do.
Okay.
And we can jump back in and have another discussion on Tuesday before we, or see if we're even ready to make that call, but please feel free to do your own research in the meantime. I think sounds like we have at least a target in mind to pursue, so we'll go from there. Good? Dennis? Emily?
I'm good.
All right, if no one has anything else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Dennis.
Second, Emily